Hello, everyone. It's Andrea Vall, and I am here with the fabulous Rachael Seda. But you also had the brown on too, right?
I do, yeah. With work, I just always gone by Rachael Seda, which is my maiden name.
Yeah.
But on Facebook, I put Rachael Seda Brown because
Yeah.
legally, that's it.
Yeah.
You
Awesome.
know, mom, kids. I get kids, so I feel like for them.
It'll be anyway. So, welcome. I'm super excited
Thank
to
you.
talk to you again because we just had the nice interview before, but now we're getting a little bit deeper into like just marketing in general, really kind of talking about the marketing approach that people need to take when they're
Yes, I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just share a little bit about how you got started. I love your story. And then how we got connected and everything like that. So you
Yeah, which
started
is
out
so
in
cool.
PR.
So I worked at a big national marketing and PR agency before starting my own business. And when I was like, I don't know, I was probably like 24 when I saw you speak at Blog World, and you were, that was so many years ago. I was like fresh, just trying to learn everything. And I somehow even got a free ticket to that conference. So the fact that I was there was just totally like luck.
Right.
If you believe in the universe. So I totally did. So I remember that's the first place I saw you speak. And I always like stuck with me, just even what you were doing and like, running your own thing. And I mean, obviously you are the expert at ads because you were talking about it for forever. So I, just from people like you that inspired me to then start my own business. So my partner at the agency and we actually went out and started our own small marketing agency. So boutique marketing, we say like, essentially we have top firm talent at small firm accessibility. And then let's see. Oh, we wanted to add social ads as a component of our business. And it was right after like her and I just both had babies and we were kind of in a business lull. And I remember I had avoided learning social ads for so long because it seemed complicated. And I was like, there's other experts for this. And you had your launch of your program. And finally I said, you know what, I'm just going to invest in it and do it. And so I'm like proof that you might be on a client's, or you might have somebody that's known you for 10 years and never bought anything, but eventually I did.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Such a great story and and then we've connected at conferences. So that was fun. Just recently. Now, who knows when that'll happen again, but
social marketing world, I know.
Yeah, social media marketing world. We were there until everything got shut down. So,
yes.
So I love that story about like, the whole idea of, larger PR firms. And I think this is kind of what stops people. And I've never been part of a PR firm or, even in a marketing agency. And it's always been a little bit scary to me to think, I don't even know the official way to do marketing, but like you said, I think that smaller firms and people can be more connected to the message a little bit.
Yes. And I think you have a more intimate relationship with your clients and are able to pivot faster than a bigger agency. There's a lot more processes. So I think that when you look at like people who are small on purpose is kind of what we call it.
Yeah.
And like you, I've been focused on social ads since, they probably started.
Yeah.
And so that is your thing and that is your niche and like, you're really good at it. And that's just what you want to know. And I think sometimes when you get in a bigger agency, you're supposed to like know all the things or know enough about all the things.
Right.
And so you miss that like really key expertise.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And one of the processes that you guys really start out with in your agency, what you were talking about a little bit was, developing that customer avatar. And like, what is that? First of all, a lot of people are like, what does that even mean? And like, and it does get thrown around, that term gets thrown around.
Yes.
So, what are the key components of coming up with that? And how do you really hone in on, because a lot of times people say, oh, my customer's everybody, but it's not. So how do you really kind of pinpoint that and narrow that down so your message comes across better?
Yeah. So I always say like okay, great. You have a product that, and I'm going to use ice cream, for example, because we have a non-dairy ice cream client that is going to market in February. And like, ideally, could everybody be their client? Sure. Everybody could be their customer. Everybody could buy ice cream. Most people like ice cream. Now it's non-dairy. So we're not worried about somebody having a food sensitivity to it. But if you talk to everybody, you really talk to no one, because your brand, you don't have a brand, you just seem too general. So I always say, like, if you took your name off of an ad or your image away, and it could that copy could work for anybody, then that's not the right copy.
That's great.
So the thing about the ideal customer avatar and creating that and being very detailed about who you want to attract. Now, you might attract other people, but like you just really want to speak to this one ideal client.
Yeah.
So we go through a whole worksheet with our clients before we start of like what is even her name? Like, not just like, is she a millennial, but does she have kids? Is she married? Where does she live? Like, what are her pain points? Like, what is keeping her up at night? Can she not sleep because because she's working all night, or can she not sleep because her kid's keeping her up? Where does she shop? Like, where does she go find gifts for friends? And you, Andrea, can really relate to this, because this is what we talk about, like, in the beginning of working with a client and like looking at your marketing strategy. But you can see how this really plays into like every part of your marketing, especially your ads.
Right. Totally.
Because if you don't know that, then you're just like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. With females 30 to 50, you're like, that could get real broad.
Yeah.
Like, how much money do you have for that?
Yeah. And you can tell exactly how many people are in that category when you put it into Facebook. You're like, wow, that's like, 70 billion people. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's a lot of times, even like when somebody comes to us looking for social ads, that is something that they totally miss. Because like, I mean, like anybody could buy it. It's like, okay, great, but you don't have money to advertise to everybody.
Right.
Like,
Right. Exactly. You want to get a little bit more targeted for sure. So that's awesome. And then, we just talking about ads, and getting into that, like, what do people even need? So of course they need the avatar, but what else do they need before starting to run ads? What other components are there?
Yeah. So for sure, I think there's like 5 key things. So your landing pages and your website, like a lot of times, and you see this, like, you're like, okay, so where are you sending traffic? And we don't have, we don't have somewhere to go. Okay, well, that's a problem. And that also depends on your goals. So figuring that out, setting up your business manager in your pixel. A lot of times, I just had a client recently, and she's like, yeah, I've been running ads and spending a lot of money for like years. I was like, okay, well, let's look at the back end. Let's look at your business manager. Is it set up okay? She was running ads personally. So now she doesn't have any of that historic data. So like just setting that up is like really important.
Yeah.
And then, we use the ideal customer avatar to like even just understand like what is the type of copy we should be writing for who, like what's our brand voice.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of times what people don't have are like branded assets. So they haven't taken time to have a library of images and videos, and they don't have to always be professionally done. Like there's a lot of great photography you could take with your iPhone. Even like, videos that you could run ads that you could be holding your iPhone, and that's fine. Yeah. But a lot of times we find that like that's a big missing piece. But I always say, if like you're going to invest in ads, like why would you not invest in having content that is like specific to you and your brand?
Right. And then, and a photographer is not that expensive oftentimes to come out for, a couple hours, and they can come out and put some really nice pictures together. And then you get a wide variety, and you've got those to use forever, for a long time. So it's really great. I had a whole photo shoot downtown Denver that was super fun, and I got tons and tons of photos from that I'm still using.
It is fun. I think most people are scared of doing it, but like it's fun.
Yeah. You feel like a celebrity. You're like, oh yes.
Get your makeup done.
And photo shoot. Yeah.
Somebody tells you how to pose, so
yeah. So that's really great. And it definitely, the whole idea of getting things set up with your Pixel and getting that ads manager, business manager. I had a client who they just had their ads running on each employee's personal ads manager, and they would lose their the employees would go, and then that like,
oh my gosh.
There are better ways to do this. Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, as you know, Facebook doesn't really make it easy.
Right. Right.
That's why we both have a job.
It is very true. So true. So let's see. I had other. Oh yeah. So what is let's talk about your company name, Mix and Shine, and like how that came about. What does that mean? Kind of you alluded to marketing mix, but like tell us a little bit about the marketing mix.
Yes. So actually my business partner and I were on a work trip before we left our last company. And first we decided to think of all the worst possible names we could think of. That seemed a lot easier,
That's pretty fun.
Drive by and like that name, like that trucking company.
That's hilarious.
So we had a fun time with that, but we came up with Mix and Shine because we saw that when the clients that we worked with, when they had the right mix of marketing, a lot of people came to us and they're like, oh, I just want to be on the Today Show. I'm like, okay, well, but why? Like, why do you want?
What's that going to do for you? Yeah.
What is it going to do? Yeah. And when you start to actually dive into like what they really want and what they tell you they want versus what they need, we help to figure out like, well, actually you need you don't just need PR. Right. You're going to need organic social and a presence and some social proof. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to need some ad spend. So you had then you realize you had a mix of paid, earned media, social media, and then your owned media, like your website and your blog or your podcast, the things that you need to own yourself, your email list.
Yeah.
Because if the algorithm changes, or we just had a client who is an influencer and for no reason, Instagram shut down her account and she couldn't get it back. And she just recently did, but she has 150,000 followers. And that was not the time to be like, this is why I told you need an email list. But,
I told you so always goes over real good, right?
I'll wait till you're done mourning. But now that it's back and now you realize why I say we want to move these social media followers to your email list because you don't own them there. Yeah. So that's why we named our company Mix and Shine, because we said if you have the right marketing mix, we can definitely help you shine. But if you don't have that right marketing mix, or you just think getting on the Today Show is going to be everything you need to, catapult your business into success. It was like being on Oprah's favorite things. Yeah. Then that's just not realistic anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew someone once who had all kinds of amazing PR, was in Redbook and all these magazines and everything like that. And still in the end, the business did not succeed, because there just wasn't enough of the other stuff going on. So, you just you can't count on just that piece of it,
Yes, no.
Right. So awesome. What else do we have? Oh yeah. So this is huge because people are always asking about this. And I think that it's a huge question for people who maybe aren't sure where to put their budget, if they're just starting out or whatever. But, what do you suggest to a small business who is trying to DIY it? Should they hire out? Where should they put their money, and kind of how do they make those decisions about do it themselves or get an outsourced help with that?
Yeah. So that's hard. I mean, you're either giving up time or you're giving up money, right? And that's always how it's going to be. So I feel like at first you're definitely going to have to DIY. I mean, when I started my business, there's a lot of things that I'm not good at. That is not accounting and stuff. It's not my thing.
That was the first thing I outsourced.
Yeah. Really was. This is a major pain point for me. As soon as I get my first client, that's got to go. I know. So you're always going to have to there's going to be things you're going to need to DIY. I think learning marketing and learning enough to know that when you do have the money to hire someone, that you're hiring the right person is important. So just knowing enough yourself to be informed and to know what you need and who you need to hire is really key. Yeah. I mean, we created our program, Become a Marketing Pro, which we launched today. It's like a 10-week course online. I know, but inspired by women like you, Andrea, who did it. And we just had so many clients that would come to us and they're like, I don't know. I just need help. But I can't afford you to do it.
Right.
But so we were doing one-on-one consulting.
Right.
And we realized it's the same issues that come up. It's the same thing that everybody wants to learn.
Yeah.
And it really is taking that whole marketing mix and like, how do you create a marketing plan or a strategy? And they all wanted a template. It's like, but there isn't a template. Like we have to look at your own specific goals. Like, and so we really walk through like, how do you create a marketing plan? And then how to use organic social? Like, how do you use email marketing to help pull that all together?
Right.
So I feel like it's really important to just know enough. And essentially like the program is so that you can DIY it and you can DIY it confidently. So you're not like Googling to all ends of the day and be like, I'm still confused. I still don't know what works.
And it changes constantly. So, you know, you can Google something and that was like, 2 years ago. And, it's just different now. And I totally agree on the fact that you've got to know how to do things, even if you are outsourcing, because this happens all the time. I just recently got a client where they were using someone else and they were telling them all kinds of crazy things about their Facebook ads that weren't true. And I was like, wow, you kind of feel bad because they have been sort of lied to and sort of scammed, and you don't want that to happen. So you have to know enough to be able to do it. And then, outsource intelligently. So that's great. So,
and you kind of figure out what you want to outsource to.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just put your link in there for the Become a Marketing Pro, just open today. Fabulous program. Lots of amazing material in there about everything you need to know with your marketing. So awesome.
Well, thank you, Andrea.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so I think that's just great advice. And I am super excited for your course opening. So thank
you.
And this is the first time.
Me. I feel like I took your course too. And even to this day, I mean, I still pay to be a member because just in the value I get from the group, it's just amazing. And it makes you realize, like, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, having somebody to ask a question when and you're like, I don't know, I've tried all the things. Like to have a group of people who are smart and are willing to help. Like it inspired me because I felt the same way, that there's a lot of people that just like want to make sure they're doing it right.
Right. Exactly. And so it definitely helps to be a part of a group, be a part of a place where you can really learn the right systems. And, like you said, there's no one size fits all template, but there's definitely a methodology to coming up with the right marketing so that you can write marketing mix so you can shine, right? So awesome. I'm going to put the link back up there really quick. Become a Marketing Pro. Just go check it out. Open today, launch today. It's exciting. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. And thanks everyone. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.